question?
That was terrific. I'm interested in how you listen to somebody else, and that combination of following and leading at the same time. When you were listening to him,
Yeah, I'm listening at.
and I hear you go back to some stuff like that.
Well, that's actually written into
Right,
one of the arrangements of it's called Bird Feathers.
Right, exactly.
It's one of the arrangements of Charlie Parker's in rendition of that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I use it because most saxophone players know this arrangement.
Okay.
So I gave him a reference point. And that was his reference point, from the A flat going down to the C. Then finally going to the F, which is the F minor. The tune is in A flat major, and that's the way it works. That little piece of filigree that happens there, that is to tell him that we're coming back to the F minor. He knows it, I know it, and now everybody else knows it. So that was my communication, since I've never played with him before. And Brian took the lead very well. He heard it, he knew what I was doing, and that's where we started. That was our starting point. So it was my choice to play that line. I could have played nothing.
When you listen to him, I mean, the process of improvisation, what did he do that you followed? Or
That I what?
That you played off of?
Well, I try to explain that I play the music as though somebody else is playing the melody.
Okay.
It's like when most of my comping, what I call comping, is more like integrated melody that uses the elements of whatever the piece is, and using that as a rhythmic and harmonic sequence to bring me to certain chords. It's not figured out, but since I know the music so well, I'm able to make those choices. It's not like all of a sudden, gee, here comes an F minor, how am I going to get there? I don't just have to play the F minor. I could play from the A flat, going down chromatically into the F minor. I can use a circle of fifths, I can use a circle of fourths, I can do anything that was in that space to get me to F minor. Now, if there are 4 beats in that space, then I have 4 things to do. Like do da do da do da do da, those are 4 beats. Well, I can go do da do da down, or da do da do da do da do da do da do da do, wind up on the A flat again. So these are all like sequencing one particular, to try to find this one space. It's kind of like diving off a mountain. And these guys in Mexico, when they dive off the mountain and they got this little space that they dive into, this little piece of water. That's what improvisation is. It's diving and not knowing what's in between. You just know that you have to hit that water, otherwise you're in an awful lot of trouble. So that's how I look at improvisation, although I don't feel that improvisation is the proper term for things any longer, because I don't feel that improvisation, to play something you don't know, I think is virtually impossible. I feel that way. You can't play what you don't know. So if you play what you know, then the more you know, the more you play. The more command you have over your instrument as a musician, the better you're going to play it. You're not going to be saying, oh, I just got to hit this A flat. If I hit this A flat, I'm going to be cool. You know what? I know where the A flats are. It's how I'm going to get there. That's the adventure. And each one of these little sequences, these little bars that I play, they're all like adventures to get from one place to another. Any other questions? Can we play something else? Would you like to play something for me?
No, I've not.
Okay. All right. Well, I understand. Believe me, my hands. This thing is killing my hands as well. Would you like to play something else, Brian? How about this young lady here? Would you like to play something?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Let's try one. These are not my students. These are just people. Now, in defense of drummers.
This one was very nice.
As opposed
Does
to
anybody here know who
offensive.
Chet Baker is? Anybody?
Chet Baker, sure.
Yeah, some people do, okay. Chet Baker was a trumpet player from, actually from the West Coast. This beautiful trumpet player, sang as well. And he made a comment once, and I say this, but you don't mind, this is my only joke. He said that you have to be a great drummer to be better than no drummer at all. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, you see, since my principle, one of my principles is you don't really play the time. The time exists. And what does a drummer do? Drummer has to be musical, beyond musical, because he's playing an instrument that doesn't really have any pitch. It can't make notes. It just makes sounds. So those sounds have to be harmonious with everybody else is doing. And how many times has anybody plays with drummers? The drummers are not too harmonious. They think life is a drum solo.
Yes.
I have drum students, I know this is true.
Now, to me, life is not a drum solo. To me, life is about integrating and interacting